quite a few properties of inverses that we'll need to look at in this problem. One of the things that I like to do right from the very beginning is to recognize when it says that h of x and g of x are inverses, I want to remember this rule, that h of g of x is going to equal x, and that g of h of x also equals x. Because they're inverses, g and h undo each other, so whatever g does to x, h undoes. Well, we want to find h prime of 3. So I'm going to take this g of h of x, which we know equals x, and I'll take the derivative of both sides. G prime of h of x is a chain rule times h prime of x. And on the other side, we're left with the derivative of x, which is just 1. And that means that h prime of x will equal 1 over g prime of h of x. Now, there are a lot of teachers, I think, that would tell you to just memorize that. I'm not one of them. I don't like to memorize. I like to build and reinforce what I know about inverses at the same time. Taking this little rule here and applying it to our problem, whether you memorize it or build it, we know that h prime of x now is going to equal 1 over g prime of h of x. And that means that h prime of 3 will equal 1 over g prime of h of 3. The only problem is I don't know what h of 3 is. And I used this little trick, I think, for the first time this year. Because h and g are inverses, if I looked at the table of x and g of x, and I get 1, 2, 3, 4, g of x just going to this column right here, I can easily see that that's going to be 3, -2, 1/2, and 6. Well, one of the properties of inverses is they flip-flop the x's and the y's. So if I looked at h of x, I would see this flip-flopping is just the reverse of this table we just did. So that means when h of x equals 1, 2, 3, 4, that x would have had to have been 3, -2, 1/2, or 6. And I'm just transferring those values over there. And when I see h prime of 3 equals 1 over g prime of h of 3, now I can see that h of 3 is going to equal 1. And that makes it quite a bit easier to say we've got g prime of 1. And now I can just go straight to the g prime table, look for g prime of 1. There's 1. G prime of x is 1/3. And that gives me 1 over 1/3, or just a value of 3. It turns out that's not such a difficult problem, but boy, there's a lot going on there, and you need to pay really close attention to all of those little factors.